Pete Hegseth laid out in very, very aggressive fashion all the sources that they have on record saying that Iran's nuclear sites were destroyed and set back years. And that includes Iran's own foreign minister, who confirmed as much. He then blistered the media and he said, have any of you people, by the way, interestingly, he invoked his own former employer, Fox, which I thought was kind of interesting. He kind of blistered Fox a little bit there. He said, has Fox done any kind of profile on the hard work of our pilots? The precision that it takes, how hard it is to fly for 30 plus hours to get this thing done? Has anybody talked about it? No, none of you want to celebrate this. None of you are desirous to tell the story of our precision strikes and our efficacy. None of you want to do that because you hate Trump so much. You're so motivated by trying to get Trump, take Trump down. You don't want to celebrate the excellence of our military. You don't want to celebrate the strength and the success of this strike. You would rather find an angle, because you're so deranged with hatred for Trump, you want to find an angle to take him down and tear him down rather than celebrate America's success. Pete Hegseth said that this is historically successful. It has given us a legitimate chance for peace, and it's something that he hopes that the press will spend a little more time telling the story about. But, of course, we know they won't. As Pete Hegseth's point was made, their currency in most of the legacy media is counterfeit truth. It's just like we were talking about earlier with Jerome Powell. These are political hacks. They're political operatives. You know, it's so funny. Yesterday, Jake Tapper actually had the temerity on his show. Let me play this quickly, and then we'll go back to that press conference a little bit. Jake Tapper, 2666. I can't believe he said this with a straight face. But then any given day, it's like the gaslighting just shifts from one subject to the next.
Asking questions is literally our job. Demanding facts and answers instead of just taking a president's word for it.
The guy that just wrote a book has been running around the country apologizing for taking the president's word for his cognitive abilities, taking the White House's word for a diminished old man who was not running anything. He wrote a whole book about how he's sorry they took the president's word for his leadership and his mental health and his cognitive abilities. He just wrote a whole effing book on this. And then he sits there yesterday and says, we have a responsibility to question whether these strikes on Iran were effective or not. We must question. And Pete Hegseth said, I've given you 30 sources that all said it was devastatingly effective. What do you want? Well, we must question. No, you must question people in authority who are having success that you don't like, Jake. That's what this is about. You must question people in authority winning. People you don't like winning. Jerome Powell has to keep Donald Trump's economy from booming too strongly because we've got midterms coming up. You can't have military success. You can't have peace. You can't have a booming economy if you're a Republican, is basically what Jake and most of the legacy media are admitting here. The country cannot succeed. The country cannot thrive if laws are being upheld, borders are being secured, enemies are being vanquished, peace is being secured, the economy booms. That cannot be allowed under a Republican administration. Most of all, it can't be allowed under Trump's leadership. And so the holdout operatives and the press and the Fed chair, they're all doing their level best to keep the golden age of the United States, which is already poking through anyway. They can barely keep this dam from breaking, but they're doing everything they can to try. And so we've sent out the Secretary of Defense and we've sent out the Joint Chiefs Chair to talk about the military operations today. He's laying it out in great detail. They would rather not celebrate the greatness of the American military, our men and women who serve. They'd rather not talk about that because they hate Trump that much. What a sickness it is.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.